And to talk about this in detail, I am joined by Alex Okonkwo, international security expert. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure. Happy Sunday.
All right. Same to you. Let me start by asking what your thoughts are on the use of lethal force by security operatives against protesters in Katsina State. I mean, do you believe it was right? You know, do they pose a threat, you know, to the security operatives?
Okay, that's a lovely question, but we must get the cap here. Let's have the big picture. Katsina State is a state that is bordered to Niger Republic in the north. The Niger Republic is very volatile, as we all know. It has boundaries with this country, and the boundaries are not necessarily well manned. You know, our boundaries are porous. What that means is that you easily can have people cross over from Niger Republic to take part in things in Katsina State and go back. That is also why you saw that there were some Russian flags in Katsina. It might not be Nigerians. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't have that information. I'm just telling you that's a possibility. So while protesters had the right, and it's protected by the Human Rights Charter, to protest peacefully, you cannot, anybody telling you contrary is lying. You cannot guarantee at 100% that any protest will be peaceful, both on the protesters' side and also on the security apparatus. Why? Simply because we haven't reached that level of civic education. Even in countries that are more developed than us, you see how the protest ends in places like the United States or in UK or in France. I mean, we see that. Those are very educated countries where the democracy has been on for over 400 years, and yet when people protest, it ends bloody. What happened here, however, is unfortunate because we're hearing parents crying and children who have been mutilated and injured. A lot of people are injured. They're in hospitals in Katsina. I have that information. I must say, if I must be honest, globally, the security agents did properly well. There will be some lapses. We are a growing democracy. And I always say in all the platforms I go, democracy is not cheap. It's very expensive in human resources and in normal financial resources. It comes at a cost. It took Americans quite a lot of decades to get the system they have now that is still imperfect. So you can imagine for Nigeria.
Okay,
so it's quite unfortunate what happened. Yes.
Okay, just to chip in there, I understand when you say protests can go awry. You cited United States as an example, and indeed, yes, protests can go awry beyond how it's intended to, you know, pan out. But then, I mean, the use of lethal force, where we have people being killed, we have, for instance, also in Katsina State, a 16-year-old killed by stray bullets. What alternative means could the security operatives have explored? Couldn't they have made use of things like water cannons or rubber bullets, you know, to manage such demonstrators?
No, they were used. All of the above were used. They used tear gas, they used water cannons in different locations. We don't have the resources. I think we should tell ourselves the truth. We want an ideal police, but we don't have the resources. First thing, in other countries, when there's a protest like this, you have police already embarked. We call them embarked, which means they are in mufti and they are within the protesters themselves, already picking out elements that look violent. That's it. I'm talking of within the protesters. We don't have that means. We don't have that training yet. We're getting there. After every protest, we get better. Remember, the NSAS protest was bloodier than this. This one was a bit better organized. I would say better organized. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Just like democracy, it is work in progress. The problem we have is that we have on one side youths that are already seeing countries that are very developed, and they're saying, why are we not already like them? But we're not going to be like France tomorrow morning. It took France over 1,000 years. We're not going to do it in 10 years' time. And I'm not saying that the police are right in what they're doing. I'm just trying to explain the situation to know that when you have 500,000 policemen, of which 50,000 are already doing protection, personal protection, you don't have enough men to man 36 states protesting almost at the same time. You know you're going to run into issues. Now, what happened in Katsina, and let's be frank, were lapses, errors, and mistakes. And they should be investigated, and the people that are culpable should be brought to justice. And I want to believe the CP there is a very bright guy, CP Aliyu Musa, very sharp person in terms of police, in the police circles. So I want to believe that he will be doing the right thing to find out which security agents made this kind of errors and mistakes.
Okay.
But overall, and that's the really stand. Overall, we didn't do as bad as many people think we did in terms of security.
Well, when you say we didn't do as bad as people think, we have a case, of people who lost their lives. So I'm not sure if that, qualifies as doing fairly well. But then, I mean, looking forward, let's talk solutions now. What should be the, overall or disposition of security operatives going forward in managing protesters and ensuring safety while people protest?
Okay, I found some things that were wrong. In fact, right from the beginning. When young people come out and say they're going to protest and they give you 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance, the dialogue should start at a very low level, starting to find out which are the areas that they can protest, what is the parkour, what is the trajectory, because obviously they are going to march to those protest zones. Nobody is going to be helicoptered there. They're going to march. They're going to come out from adjacent streets and go to the main street. So the police and other civil associations should have already mapped out in Katsina, for example. Are we going to be more in Daura? Is it going to be in Katsina itself, or is it going to be in Funtua? Where are they going to be to make this protest? That should have been clarified initially. Instead of government spending time telling them not to protest, it should have been, where do you guys want to protest so that properties will be safe? For people that are conversant with Lagos, I would have said, if you take the stretch between Oshodi and Anthony, and you leave it empty, totally of vehicles, and you say protest there, and end up in a park in Anthony, you see clearly that police can be there and man things in the proper way. But when you say Ojota, how are people going to get Ojota? They have to come from everywhere. And the most dangerous moments in the protest is when people are coming to the protest and when they are going back, because the protest is seemingly over, but you still have 2 hours to get to where you are going. And during that time, anything can happen, both against the protesters and for public property.
Well,
so
we're pressed for time. I must, cut in there. Apologies for cutting you there. I must chip in. They were pressed for time. But thank you so much for your submissions on the news. Alex Okonkwo, international security expert. Many thanks indeed.
Thank you so much.